So, thank you everyone for joining me here today. Today I'll be speaking about my life as an artist, and I'll start off by saying why I make art in the first place. So, I've always been compelled to make art. From a young age, I remember doodling in class when I was supposed to be listening, and always making a lot of art in my free time. And I think art is a great outlet of creative expression that brings beauty to the world, and I want to be part of that. And I make art pretty much every day. It's just part of my schedule at this point, so it just comes naturally to me. And now we'll talk about how I got into my digital style. So I've always been surrounded by computers my whole life, and they just speak to me, I guess. We understand each other. And I taught myself Photoshop in high school, and when I was in college, I got interested in the idea of the computer making art by itself. I thought that was really interesting. So I downloaded a bunch of programs and I tested them out. Most of them were junk, but I found one that was really interesting to me, and it's called Mandelbrot 3D. It's what I use to make most of my pieces. And this program can create 3D fractals. And what a fractal is basically an image that when you zoom in, at some point it will repeat itself. And it might have slight differences, but it should be mostly an identical copy. And it's also known as a recursive image. And so when I first started using the program, there was a lot of trial and error. I didn't really know what I was doing. I just pressed all the buttons and had to figure out what they did after. And not all the instructions were in English anyway, so that didn't help. And this program is it's a mixture of math, art, and science, and I find that really beautiful. And the program itself, when I started using it, I found that it could make kinds of shapes and things I'd never seen before, and I just wanted to explore it and see what kind of things it could create. And I've never looked back since I started. And I use this software and my computer the same way that any artist would use their tools, like a painter with his paintbrush and palette with a canvas. And now I'll explain how the program works and how I do my process. So the first thing that I'll do is load in parameters, which are usually made up of algorithms that represent complex mathematic shapes, and I'll mix them together and change a bunch of sliders, make them look different. And then I'll go into a navigation window where I can rotate and zoom, and then I'll export it back into the main program where I can render it and see if it looks like I want. Then I can continue. If I'm not happy with it, then I can start over. And from there, I'll add colors and lighting effects. I'll change the depth, and I might add reflections, and then I'll save it, and it's a completed piece. Or I can mutate it, and I can control parts of it that I can mutate, and then I can get another piece. And that's how I find that there are infinite opportunities to make new things, and I always surprise myself with what comes out. And in the last couple of years, my journey as an artist has really evolved. I joined my dad's art business of 30 years, and we're now partners. I had my gallery debut last April where I made my first sales. And since then I've participated in craft fairs locally and some library shows where I displayed my work. And in the next couple weeks I have an artist talk coming up with a live demonstration, which I'm excited about for the first time. This year was the first time I took my pieces from the computer and got them in physical form. So I printed them on photo paper and magnets and even a blanket. And I'm really happy with having them, be tangible. And I even started making animations out of them so I could bring them to the next level and have moving pictures, which I'm really excited about. But overall, I've come so far since my journey started, and I want to keep bringing beauty to the world and keep creating. And all of the programs that I use are completely free, so I'll link to them, and anyone who wants to make things for themselves, and feel free to send them to me. Thank you.